Our last story today is called The Mitten. This is a classic Russian tale, and it's being told by Alvin Tresselt. He has written this version, and the illustrator's name is Yaroslava. This was actually one of my favorite stories as a child. I hope you like it too. It was the coldest day of the winter, and a little boy was trudging through the forest, gathering firewood for his grandmother. "Bring back all you can find," the old woman had said as she sat knitting a pair of mittens. "The north wind blows cold, and we must have a good fire to keep us warm." All morning the boy worked, picking up sticks until his sled was well loaded. Then a very strange thing happened. Just as he picked up the last stick, he dropped one of his mittens in the snow. Now, how a boy could do this on the coldest day of winter, I'll never know, but that's the way my grandfather tells the story. Off he went with his load of wood, and the mitten was left lying on a snowdrift. And there's the boy. As soon as he was out of sight, a little mouse came scurrying through the woods. She was very cold, and when she spied the little boy's mitten with its feathery fur cuff, she popped right in to get warm. It was just the right size for a tiny mouse. Presently, a green frog came hip-hopping over the snow. "Anybody home?" she asked when she saw the mitten. "Only me," said the mouse, "and come in quickly before you freeze." If you ever check this book out at the library, notice the detail of the drawings of the animals' clothes. They're very lovely. I think they must be Russian. They had no sooner settled themselves snugly in the red wool lining when an owl flew down. "May I join you in that lovely mitten?" he asked. "If you mind your manners," replied the mouse, for owls always made her nervous. "And don't wiggle around too much," added the frog, "because it's a bit tight in here." It wasn't long before a rabbit came down the forest path. "Is there room for me in that nice warm mitten?" asked the rabbit. "It's awfully cold out here." "Not much space left," said the mouse and the frog and the owl. "But come in, we'll see what we can do." It's getting crowded. But they're sharing. I like this story. Let's see. Uh-oh. Even before the rabbit had gotten herself tucked in, a fox trotted up to the mitten. And after a good deal of trouble, she got herself in, along with the others. The mouse was beginning to think maybe she shouldn't have been so generous. But with the bitter wind outside, what else could she do? And they have this little acorn here. It's almost acting like a little light. Oh no, let's see what happens next. And now, as if things weren't bad enough, the next visitor was a big gray wolf who wanted to come in too. "I don't know how we'll manage it," said the mouse, "but we'll try." Everyone moved around a bit, and finally the wolf was squeezed into the mitten. It was very crowded by now, but at least it was warm. Things had just gotten arranged nicely when the animals heard a great snorting. It was a wild boar, and he was very anxious to get in out of the wind. "Oh dear," cried the mouse, for the mitten was already beginning to stretch a little. "We just don't have any more room." "I'll be careful," said the boar, and with that, he squished himself into the mitten, along with the mouse and the frog and the owl and the rabbit and the fox and the wolf. I know this because my grandfather told me. And can you see? It's starting to tear here, and there's a little hole here. And look at this great big boar. And look at all the animals here. Let's see. Oh my goodness. But the worst was yet to come, for who should appear now but a bear? He was very big and very cold. "No room, no room," cried the animals, even before the bear had a chance to speak. Oh my gosh, look how big he is. What are they going to do? He's wearing a lovely vest, though. Let's see. "Nonsense," said the bear. "There's always room for one more." And without so much as a please or thank you, he began crawling into the mitten. He put his paw in first, and the mitten creaked and groaned. He put his other paw in, and one of the seams popped, and then he took a big breath and pushed himself in. Oh my goodness, look, look, look. Now, while all this was going on, along came a little black cricket. She was very old, and her creaky legs ached with the cold. When she saw the mitten, she said to herself, "Now that looks like a nice warm place. I'll just hop over and see if I can squeeze in too." Let's see. Look at these animals. They're hanging out on the side. They're squished in there. Oh my goodness. But, me, that's all that was needed to finish off the poor old mitten. The cricket had no more than put her first scratchy foot inside when, with a rip and a snap, the stitches came apart and the old leather cracked and the soft red lining split in half, popping all the animals into the snow. Well, at this very moment, the little boy discovered that he had only one mitten. So back he went to see where he might have dropped the other one. But all he could find were the ripped apart pieces. And he thought he saw a little mouse scurrying away with a bit of red wool perched on her head. It looked very much like the lining from the thumb of his missing mitten. "Ah, well," said the boy, as he snuggled his cold hand into his coat, "my grandmother will surely have my new mittens finished by now." And then he hurried home with the north wind nipping at his cheeks. The end.